Here are two of our forms of linear equations. If I graph these out, I would get a line. The slope-intercept form, where we have y equals a number times x plus a number. This number could be positive, negative, a whole number, a fraction. This number could be positive, negative, a whole number, or a fraction. This number is the slope of the line. This number is the y-intercept of the line. The standard form over here, where we have a number times x plus or minus a number times y equals some number. The numbers are always whole numbers. This number over here that multiplies x is always a positive number. This number could be positive or negative. This could be positive or negative, and the x's are on the left side, the y's are on the left side, and just a single number over here. Now, the idea is to be able to transfer and go back and forth between this kind of equation and this one. So take a slope-intercept, turn it into a standard into a slope-intercept. So let's give one a try. We'll start with a slope-intercept. Y equals 2/3 x plus 1. So we want to get x and y on the left side. We want to make all the numbers whole numbers. We want to make the number in front of x to be positive. So first we're going to get rid of the whole numbers. Look at the denominator of the fraction or fractions. Figure out what the greatest common denominator would be. In this case we have 1, so it's 3. So to get rid of the fractions, we do like we always do, take that greatest common denominator, multiply both sides by it. So I multiply the left side by 3, I multiply the right side by 3, which means on the right side I have to use the distributive property. So on the left I've got 3 times y, 3y. On the right I've got 3 times 2/3. Well, 3 times 2/3. 3's cancel out, leaving simply 2, so this becomes 2x, and then 3 times 1 plus 3. Okay, now I've got all whole numbers. Now I've got to get them both on the same side, the x's and y's. So to get rid of the x's on the right side, I add their opposite or subtract them. Don't have any x's over here, so 0x's minus 2x's is minus 2x, plus my 3y I already have, equals the 3 that's left here after I take away these 2 x's. Alright, now I've got all whole numbers. I've got x and y on the left. The only thing wrong is the x's are negative. I need them to be positive. So what I'm really going to do is multiply both sides by -1. So multiply this side by -1 and multiply this side by -1. So -1 times -2 is +2. -1 times +3 is -3. -1 times 3 is -3. So you can see, in a sense, the shorthand method is to think just if the x's are negative, just switch all the signs. Negatives becomes positives, positives become negatives. There we've changed an equation in in slope-intercept form into standard form. All right, now let's go the other direction. Let's take an equation in standard form, 2x plus 3y equals 9, and change it into slope-intercept. So slope-intercept, I only have y on the left side, so I get rid of everything except y. In other words, solve for y. All right, so first thing wrong is got x's over here. I want to get rid of them. So I'm going to get rid of them here by adding -2x. So those go away, and I end up with 3y equals -2x, because it didn't have any x's there, plus the 9 that I got. Now I got to get rid of this 3 because I want y by itself. Well, 3 multiplying y, to get rid of that, I multiply by its reciprocal, 1/3. So 1/3 on this side, 1/3 on this side, again using the distributive property. So 1/3 times 3 is 1, so this is just y. 1/3 times -2 is -2/3. 1/3 times 9. This cancels down to a 3, so this becomes just 3 plus 3. So there's my slope-intercept form. Y equals -2/3 x plus 3. All right, we'll do some pause and plays here. I give you an equation to change. You pause the video, try to work it out on your own, come back, play the rest of the video. I go through the problem, see if you made a mistake, see how to fix it. All right, so starting with this, we've got it in slope-intercept. We're going to change it to standard, so pause. All right, first thing we need to do is get rid of the fractions, get all whole numbers. Well, we only have one denominator, 2, so that's what we got to multiply by. So multiply by 2 on the left and 2 on the right using the distributive property. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 3 halves, 2 over 1 times 3 over 2. 2's cancel out, leaving 3. So 3x. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, now I get to get the x's off the right side onto the left side. So I add negative 3x's to get them off of the right side. So I don't have any x's over here, so I've got negative 3x's now, plus the 2 y's that were already there equals 4. All right, we got whole numbers. We've got x and y on the left. The only thing we got left to do is get this number to be positive. So I'm going to go through and just switch all the signs. So I've got positive 3x minus 2y equals minus 4. Okay, next we're changing this slope-intercept again into standard. So pause. All right. Gotta get rid of the fractions, get whole numbers. So one denominator, so I'm going to multiply through by it. 3 times on this side, 3 times on this side. 3y is 3y. 3 times 4 thirds. 3's cancel out, leaving a 4. So 4x plus, and 3 times 3 is 9. All right, got to get the x's off the right side onto the left side by subtracting them. So I end up with negative 4x's over here, plus the 3 y's I already had, equals 9. Right, again, now I've got to get the number in front of x to be positive, so I multiply through by negative 1, which just changes all the signs. So 4x minus 3y equals negative 9. Okay, another slope-intercept to standard. So get rid of the fractions. Only one denominator, so that's what I multiply by. 4 times on both sides. Distributive property on the right. 4 times y is 4y. 4 times 3 fourths. 4 over 1 times 3 over 4. 4's cancel, leaving a 3. It's 3x plus 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, x is off the right side, onto the left side. They're added on here, so I subtract them away. So I end up with negative 3x over here because it didn't have any x's, plus the 4y that's there. Those are now gone, equals 16. Okay, now once again, all I got to do is get rid of the negative here, so switch all my signs. 3x minus 4y equals 16. Okay, once again, slope-intercept to standard. This time I've got 2 different fractions with 2 different denominators. So I've got to get their least common multiple, or what we would use for the common denominator. All right, this time again, slope-intercept to standard. This time though, I've got 2 fractions with different denominators. So go ahead and pause. All right, with the 2 different denominators, I've got to get their least common multiple. Well, they're both prime numbers, so they both have to go into it. So 2 and 3 are in my common denominator, so 2 times 3 is 6. So that's what I'm going to multiply by. So times 6 on both sides. Okay, on this side I got 6y. Here I've got minus 5 halves times 6. 6 and the 2 cancels down to a 3. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. 1/3 times 6. This cancels down to a 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Right? I got to get my x's off of the right side onto the left side. So they're negative 15 x's, so I add 15 x's. So I didn't have any x's over here, so now I got 15 plus the 6y I already had equals the 2 that's over here after I take away the negative 15 x's. Now I've got everything in whole numbers. I've got x and y on the left side, and this time the number in front of x is already positive, so I don't have to do that last step of changing the signs. I'm already done. 15x plus 6y equals 2. Right, again, slope-intercept to standard with two different denominators, so pause. All right, I'm going to look at my two denominators, figure out what my greatest common factor is, or excuse me, my least common multiple. So two prime numbers, so it's just both of them together. 2 times 5 is 10. So I'm multiplying both sides by 10. So 10 on this side, 10 on that side. So I got 10y over here. Okay, 10 times negative 3 halves. Negative 3 halves times 10. This cancels down to a 5. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Plus 1/5 times 10 cancels down to a 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, I've got x's on the right side. I got to get them on the left by adding their opposite plus 15x. So I've got 15x's over here now plus the 10y's that were already there equals 2. Once again, now I'm already done. I got whole numbers. I got x and y on the left side. The number in front of x is positive. All right, this one, slope-intercept to standard. Two different denominators, both numbers fractions. So pause. All right, look at my two denominators. Again, they're both prime numbers. So I get 5 times 3, which is 15. That's what I got to multiply by. So I got 15y here. Negative 2/5 now times 15. This cancels down to a 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So I got negative 6x. 4/3 times 15. Cancels down, 15 over 3 cancels down to a 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, got to get the x's off the right side onto the left side. So I add their opposite, plus 6x. So now I have 6x's over here, plus the 15y's I already had, equals 20. Whole numbers, x and y on the left, number in front of x is positive. So I'm done. Okay, again, here we go. We got negative 2/3 x plus 5 halves. Slope-intercept, change to standard, pause. All right, look at my two denominators. There's 3 and 2. Both prime numbers. They both got to go into my greater or my least common multiple. So it's going to be 6. So multiply both sides by 6. 6 times y is 6y. 6 times negative 2/3. Negative 2/3 times 6 cancels down to a 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 5 halves times 6. I get 5 halves times 6. Cancels down. 6 over 2 is 2 at 3. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay. X is on the right side. I got to get on the left side, so I add their opposite, plus 4x. So now I have 4x's over here, plus 6y's that were already there, equals the 15. Now I've got whole numbers, x and y on the left, number in front of x is positive, so I'm done. All right, here we're changing a standard to a slope-intercept. So go ahead and pause. All right, so we need to solve for y, get rid of everything on the left side except y. So I want to get rid of this 2x, so I add negative 2x. So it's gone. It ends up on the right side as negative 2x plus 9. Now I've got to get rid of this 3 by multiplying by its reciprocal, so times 1/3. So 1/3 times 3 is just 1, so this becomes just y. And I'm using the distributive property over on this side. Just had to multiply on this side. 1/3 times negative 2. Negative 2 times 1/3 is negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 x. And then 1/3 times 9. This cancels down to a 3. So plus 3. Negative 2/3 x plus 3. Okay, this one, once again, changing to slope-intercept. So pause. All right, we got to get y by itself on the left side. So getting rid of the 3x by subtracting it. So it's gone on the left side, ends up on the right side. So 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. Now I've got to get rid of the 2 by multiplying by its reciprocal. So times 1/2. So I multiply by 1/2 on the left, and using the distributive property times 1/2 on the right. So 1/2 times 2 is just 1, so this is just y. 1/2 times negative 3. 1/2 times negative 3. Negative 3/2. So this is negative 3/2 x plus, now 1/2 times 4. 1/2 times 4 over 1 cancels down to a 2. So negative 3/2 x plus 2. Okay, again, standard to slope-intercept. So pause. All right, so I got to get rid of the 4x on the left side by adding its opposite. So I end up with 5y equals negative 4x plus 10. Now I've got to get rid of this 1/5 by multiplying by its reciprocal. So I'll multiply on the left side and distributive property on the right side. So 1/5 times 5 is 1, so that's just 1y. Over here I've got negative 4 times 1/5, multiplying straight across, just negative 4/5. I've got 10 over 1 times 1/5. This reduces down to a 2, so plus 2. All right. 5x plus 4y equals 8, so it's standard form. We want to change it to slope-intercept, so pause. Okay, got to get rid of the 5x's on the left side by adding their opposite. So 5x's go away. I'm left with 4y equals negative 5x's, which turn up over here, plus the 8 that I already had. Now I got to get rid of this 4 by multiplying by its reciprocal, so times 1/4. So times 1/4 on the left, times 1/4 on the right, using the distributive property. Turns into 1. So here I've got negative 5 times 1/4, negative 5/4. So negative 5/4 x. I've got 8 times 1/4. It's 8 over 4. This reduces to a 2, so plus 2. All right, so we got 2x minus 3y equals 5, so standard form to slope-intercept form, so pause. All right, first I'm going to get rid of my x's on the left, trying to get y by itself, so add negative 2x to both sides. So these two x's go away, leaving minus 3y. Negative 2x's end up over here, plus 5. All right, now we're not going to want negative y's, so since these are negative, we're going to just go ahead and switch all our signs. So 3y equals 2x minus 5. So now I got to get rid of this 3 by multiplying by 1/3. So times 1/3 on the left, times 1/3 on the right, using the distributive property. So this turns into 1, so just 1y. 2 times 1/3, simply 2/3. So this is 2/3 x. And 5, negative 5 times 1/3 is negative 5/3. So minus 5/3. So I'm done. All right, again, standard form to slope-intercept. Pause. All right, getting rid of the x's on the left side. We're going to add negative 3x's. So those go away, leaving negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 7. All right, we don't want negative y's, so let's just multiply through by negative 1, turn that into positive y's. So I've got 2y's equal, negative 3x becomes positive 3x, positive 7 becomes negative 7. Now I've got get rid of this 2 by multiplying by 1/2. Okay, so 1/2 on the left, 1/2 on the right using the distributive property. Turns into 1. 1/2 times 3. 3/2. So slope 3/2. Minus 7 times 1/2. Simply minus 7/2. So we're done there. Right, again, standard form to slope-intercept form. Pause. All right, we're getting rid first of the x's on the left side by subtracting them. So subtract minus 5x. And those go away, leaving negative 3y equal to negative 5x plus 8. Okay, we don't want negative y, so let's go ahead and multiply through by negative 1, getting rid of the negative y's. So this becomes positive, this becomes positive, this becomes negative. Now I've got to get rid of my 3 by multiplying by 1/3. So 1/3 on the left, 1/3 on the right using the distributive property. So it turns into 1. 5 times 1/3, 5/3. So slope 5/3. Now negative 8 times 1/3. So negative 8 times 1/3 is negative 8/3. That's my intercept. So minus 8/3. Okay, again, slope standard to slope-intercept. So pause. All right, we've got to get rid of these x's on the left side, so we're going to add their opposite. Those go away, leaving negative 5y. They end up on the right side because it didn't have any x's there, plus my 4. Don't want negative y's, want positive y's. So we're going to multiply through by negative 1, which just changes our signs. So that becomes positive, this becomes positive, this becomes negative. Got to get rid of this 5 by multiplying by 1/5. So 1/5 on the left, 1/5 on the right using the distributive property. This becomes 1. 3 over here times 1/5 becomes 3/5. So slope 3/5. Got minus 4 times 1/5 becomes negative 4/5. So my y-intercept then becomes negative 4/5.